everyone, it's Mari, and I'm here today to create a card project that I was working on in my craft room today. Just creating a card for my niece's bridal shower, and I'm just using this really cute little Stampin' Up! Stamp set, and it's got the little bride and groom in the car and the flowers and so on. So I'm going to create that project here for you today. I'm just working on some watercolor paper here, and I'm going to stamp with some black archival ink from Ranger, and that's the ink that I'm going to use for all of the stamping that I'm going to do here today. And so I'm just going to put that little car down, and then I'm going to put the little bride and groom in there, and just going to put the little flowers trailing out behind the car. And this is going to be just a really simple card that I'm going to do in black with gold accents, because that is the wedding colors for my niece's wedding. And at one point I thought that I might try to incorporate some turquoise cardstock, but I end up not doing that in the end, and just like the look of the black and the gold. I think it just looks really classy. So I'm just going to add those little flowers here, and just going to stamp off the edge of the card there a little bit and have those little flowers trailing behind, kind of like confetti behind the wedding car. And I just thought that was really super cute for a bridal shower. And I'm going to actually use a little stamp and die set here as well. And I'm trying to remember where that's from. I think maybe Hero Arts, but I'm not 100% sure. I will add that information to the final copy of the video here so you can see what set that's from. So I'm just going to stamp the word happy on here in black once again, and then I'm going to just use the little die cut that comes along with this set and cut that happy out using my Big Shot. I'm just going to take the little steel die and I'm going to stick it onto the paper with some micro pour tape just to secure it so that it doesn't move around when it's in the Big Shot. And that micro pour tape I just purchased at Simon Says Stamp, and I only use it, or virtually only use it, for this purpose. So a lot of, or that little bit of that little tiny roll of micro pour tape goes a long ways. I've had that for quite a while. So now I'm just going to tape that down, and I'm going to send that through my Big Shot, and I get just a really nice clean die cut here, which is going to be really pretty on that card. It's just going to pop up off that card nicely. And I'm going to take the word together from that same stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it down there using some Versamark ink. I'm just going to take my little tool there that applies the powder to the paper so that the embossing powder doesn't stick to the cardstock where you don't want it. And that way the embossing powder is only going to stick to that Versamark ink, which is super, super sticky. So I'm just going to put some really pretty glittery gold embossing powder on here. And I'll add that after later so that you know what embossing powder that is, but it's just beautiful. I think it's a Wow embossing powder. It's one of my favorites, and it's just a really pretty glittery gold. And I'm just going to get my heat tool there and heat that up. I usually like to let my heat tool run for a couple of minutes before I let it go onto the paper, just so that it doesn't take as long to get that embossing powder to melt. Otherwise, you tend to take the chance of warping your paper a little bit. That's the nice thing about using watercolor paper too, is it's super thick, and it does take certain treatments like this a little bit better. It won't warp like your regular cardstock will, or at least not as easily. So I'm going to take that really cute little die cut happy there, and I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back and stick it on there. I wanted both of these words to be a little bit closer to the car, because I'm going to add something to the top of the card or the top corner of the card. So just to balance it off, put this more in towards the center of my card. Just going to take my little tweezers and apply that onto the card. And I'm going to add a couple of little sequins with some brads. And gosh, I love using things from my stash when I'm making cards. It's one of the best things about card making. I contemplated adding some color with some watercolor pens, and then thought, no, I'm just going to stick with this black and gold because I really like it. So I just took these Maggie Holmes sequins and I added a little really pretty gold shiny brad to the middle, and now I'm just going to stick those on in a couple of places just to embellish the card a little bit and bring that gold in a little bit more other than just that word together. And now this is where I'm like, oh, should I use a blue card? And I decide not to. It doesn't really work for the black and gold theme, obviously. So I decide to use just some black cardstock, put my card front on there with some pop dots, and then I'm going to be just about done. So I'm just going to put this on. I'm going to put a little white piece in the center, piece of cardstock in the middle for my sentiment. And I'm just going to write in the card. I'm not going to stamp anything in there. I'm just going to write a little message to my niece in there. And I'll also put another one of those little gold sequins on there as well, just to finish it off. So thanks so much for joining me today. This was a really fun, quick little card that I made today in my scrap room. And I hope you enjoyed this, and perhaps it gave you some inspiration to work on a project of your own that you've been wanting to do. So thank you so much, and I'll see you again another time. Bye-bye.